hit song they play. We're live.
We're live.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome Songtown Song Club tonight. We have a very special guest. Jenny is here from Porchlight Music. You're going to enjoy her feedback. She knows what she's doing. She's a real deal. She's a real song person. So without further ado, I know you guys want to hear whose songs are chosen tonight. So let's bring on Jenny and we'll get this party started.
All right.
Woohoo!
Hello. Howdy, howdy.
Hello.
Right.
All
Dana,
right.
who's up first?
Let's just get into it.
Let's do
Yeah.
it.
Nobody wants to hear us talk. They all want to hear
You
what
want to
Jenny
hear?
has to say.
They do. Okay, so first up, we have Better Gone by Sham Sundra. Here we
I like
go.
the title, Better Gone.
I like it too.
You're better gone than here.
I never thought that we could break it. Never thought that we would fall apart. Got to a point I couldn't fake it. With every cut and all the hidden scars. Every moment fading away. All the years that we shared. When we cared, when we cared. I'm better gone in the rear view. I'm so tired of our slow fade. I'm better gone, moving on my own. I'm better gone, me without you. I'm so tired of quiet heartbreak. I'm better gone on my own, on my own. There was a time when we would climb up.
All right.
All right. Do I need to unmute
You can,
myself? Or am I unmuted
no,
right now?
we can hear you.
Okay.
Just jump right
Perfect.
in.
Okay. I saw the little red thing in the bottom. I was making sure. Yeah, so I really like the hook and the idea. It kind of reminded me of like some like 2000s like kind of pop punk, like maybe Good Charlotte or Simple Plan. It just had this kind of nostalgic feel. And I really like the melody transition in the pre-chorus, which, well, it's still in the verse, but right before the chorus, the lines every moment fading, that was set up going into the chorus. Overall, yeah, it felt good. I just don't know that I hear it for anybody at this time, so I probably will pass for now. But I thought, yeah, the melodies were great.
Yeah, I thought so too. I kind of wanted to hear at the end because you got this big long setup line. I'm so tired of quiet heartbreak. I'm better gone on my own way. Like it just felt like it might have served you better to rhyme there at the end. But I like it.
Mm.
Sham, you're great with melodies. The only thing I would say is all of your sections start with this I never thought, every moment, I'm better gone. Um, it's a very similar like staccato style of singing. You might think, you know, pulling from people like Taylor Swift, where contrast is everything. When you hit that pre-chorus, maybe going to like a smoother melody of every moment fading away, like longer. It would be an octave higher, but just kind of like longer, more legato lines, so that when you hit the fast stuff in the chorus, there's like more contrast going on. Because right now, each of the sections melodically are great, but just one back to back to back, there's not a lot of rhythmic contrast. So I think if you just tighten that up a little bit, it'll hit a lot harder.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, that's my 2 cents. I like it.
Awesome. And that demo sounded great too. Someone in the chat
Mm-hmm.
said a great guitar sound.
Yeah.
I agree. Awesome. All right. Next up, we have Branded by Marianne Murdoch.
It was on this day in the night at the old rock house, at the edge of the fairgrounds, tucked away from the madding crowd. My dress was white, the strap was tight, it fit real fine, and the way it flared below my waist caught your eye. And we danced every dance as we both reached out our hands, and we moved to the groove of the old house band. Felt the touch of your hand on the curve of my hand, like I was branded. I could feel the heat from it.
Yeah, I think this is really cool. There's a lot I like about this. First off, the vocals, I don't know if that's you singing, but I love that like kind of soft, almost wispy, like almost a sort of Meg Maroney, but kind of just a really, really pretty tone. And the rhyme patterns I thought were good. You switched them up. So, in the chorus, I want to say, you got dance and hands, and then in the verse, it's not like A B B A B. You are able to switch up so it doesn't feel too predictable from line to line. And I like that it's not like the obvious rhyme too, like cat and hat, spot dot. It's, you're rhyming tight with fine and I, which are, easy on the ear. And so I like that. I really like a lot about this. The only thing I would say is the time it got to the hook, it didn't quite land as strongly as I would have hoped. I think when like it was branded, so the hook the title is branded. I think that somehow needs to just be the hook, and maybe I could feel the heat from it like I was branded. Maybe you just need to reverse that, because I just don't think ending on it is a strong, just it doesn't land as impactful as it could. But other than that, I think it felt really good.
Yeah, I liked the idea of landing on branded at the end and really making that the hook.
Mm-hmm.
And I liked the rhyme scheme too, and the verse, and then it went to the 3 rhymes in the pre-chorus. But the one thing that, Marianne, you might think about is, as we both reached out our hands, and then at the end of the chorus, I felt the touch of your hand. It just felt like you've used that same idea of the hand
Mm-hmm.
twice in the chorus. And so I would change one of those, and maybe find a way just to hit a little harder on the idea of branded. It just feels like it's just an inch away from really landing it, but it's
Mm-hmm.
really, really got a lot of potential.
Awesome. Great job. All right. Next up,
These
we
are some
have.
good vocal performances on these first
They
2.
really are. Yeah, they're already like knocking it out of the park. So,
I wanted to ask you, Jenny,
Yeah.
because we get this a lot where people ask if writers should sing their own demos. Do you feel like more than production, the vocal might be like the most important thing to sell a demo, or how do you feel about it?
That's a great question. I honestly think it just depends. So if we're just strictly talking for outside pitch, and if it's not written with the artist in the room, then it just depends on who we're thinking to cast it to. So if we have somebody who's, let's say, a little bit sweeter, less country singer that's wanting to send a song for Cody Johnson, that might be something that's a little bit more difficult to whether for him or his camp to hear through, because let's be honest, artists always like to imagine themselves hearing themselves on a song and imagine them singing it. So I think it is important if you're specifically casting, and it's okay to have multiple versions too. You know, there's a lot of songs that I hear and that my writers will turn in, and you know, they're like, well, maybe we'll get the other guy to sing the too, just to have a different flavor, a different take. And I always like that too, because it can completely, like I said, just give it a brand new feel. So I do think who is singing the demo is important. You want to put your best foot forward always. So yeah.
Cool.
Awesome.
Hopefully that answered.
Traditionally, it's funny how you say artists like to imagine themselves singing it. The feeling we always had coming up was if you're pitching to a female artist, you might could get away with a guy singing it. But if you were pitching to a guy, you better like spell it out because the guys had no imagination.
Yeah. And me too. There was actually someone told me the other day, there's a female artist, and I don't know if it's Katie Offerman, but she likes to hear guy vocals. You know, she almost prefers that, if I'm not mistaken. So that's, you just never know.
Cool.
All right.
Awesome. All right. Next up, we have House on a Bridge by Irina Ilyenko.
Caught in the haze of what we are and what we might be. Caught in the fog of unspoken words, longing for clarity. Dancing on the edge and unsure of your next step. I know this delicate swaying might mean my heart break. The force of your presence leaves me unarmed. A swift exit is better than a heart torn apart. I can't live between hope and despair, stuck on a bridge, losing my faith and my courage. I can be your queen and your faithful admirer. I just wanna be myself with or without you. I don't wanna live dancing on the edge, losing my faith and my courage. I don't wanna live in a house on a bridge. Is there a chance you also dream?
Yeah, I think that's a really interesting concept. I haven't heard that before, a house on a bridge. So I really like how that played out. You know, a lot of times I'll see a title or whatever and be like, I wonder, like, it'll either be really obvious or it won't. So, you know, I like that was kind of intriguing. Lots of really cool imagery, you know, caught in the haze, caught in the fog. You know, there's a lot of, I feel like, not necessarily metaphors, well, kind of, I mean, dancing on the edge and, you know, longing for clarity. So sometimes I feel like it's easy for things to get a little too ambiguous. You know, the force of your presence leaves me unarmed, you know, that's a little metaphorical. You know, I think there's a lot to unpack in the chorus that it kind of starts to get a little difficult to keep up with. I love the pop feel. First off, pop is really interesting to me because, especially right now with, you know, like Sabrina Carpenter and Olivia Rodrigo or Taylor Swift, you know, pick your artist. I feel like it's a very raw and honest and vulnerable genre, especially right now with females. And so I like seeing that and I like hearing that. And I felt like this definitely captured that well. But, you know, and the other thing too is I couldn't tell if a little bit in the verse, my volume isn't as loud as I'd like it to be right now, but my ear is like really sensitive to overtuning. And so I would just be careful not to like make your voice too robotic. And maybe there wasn't much of that, but sometimes it can be just a little bit overdone. But overall, I felt like it was really honest. And, you know, I like the concept of, you know, don't want to live in a house on a bridge. I thought that was neat.
Jeannie, you brought up, or you led me down this path for a second here. This to me sounds like it's probably an AI demo.
Okay.
Because you can
Good
hear the
point.
phasing, and so
Yeah.
how because we get this question all the time in Songtown, and I'm not saying that this song is like this, but we
Hmm.
have lyricists that'll type in their lyrics and it spits out a melody online for them in a demo. And how do you feel as a publisher? Like, can you even pitch a song that has a melody that AI came up with?
You know, I really haven't had to. I mean, I guess I do have one writer in particular that dabbled in AI, but up until now, I really haven't encountered that too much.
Yeah.
Like I don't know all the legalities of it, to be honest, but um, I think it just depends, because AI maybe isn't going to know that it's on top of another song. Maybe it does. I'm not as
Right.
well versed as I would like to be, but I think there's, personally, my personal opinion, something to be said for just real people in the room. Now, if it's a tool, if it's an effect to enhance, absolutely. Like if it helps sell the song in a way that will give it that extra chance to pierce the gatekeepers, then absolutely. But I think I'm pretty against just like submitting like an idea or something and then it kind of formulating this entire song, because I
Right.
love real people being behind it.
Yeah. And right now, who knows what the legalities are going to be with copyrights? If
Right.
AI creates your melody for you, then who owns that? Like, because of
Exactly.
copyright, you have to write it to own the copyright. So, or
Hmm.
you have purchased it.
Yeah.
So I don't
Well,
know.
it's like
It's
who do
interesting.
you sue? I mean, yeah, if it's on top of a popular song and you know
Yeah.
someone wants to sue somebody, well, someone can say, well, it wasn't mine, it was, AI. But there's gotta, yeah, there's a lot of things being figured out as we go in that world.
Yeah. Cool.
All right. And someone actually was wanting you guys to give your takes on that. They
Oh,
submitted their
cool.
question in advance, so that was great.
Awesome.
All right, moving along. Next up, we have Hello Whiskey by
Well,
Shane
Dana,
Lanford. Oh, before we move
before you
on.
do that, I will say as a writer, if you're having to lean on AI to come up with, I mean, you just need to buckle down and get better as a writer rather than leaning on a machine to do it for you. Because I don't know,
Hmm.
Jenny. I think you would prefer that your writers know how to write than to have a
Absolutely.
machine.
Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. We don't want to be a publishing company that doesn't have any writers that I'm just, talking to a computer all day. That would be sad.
Yeah. And chat says can't beat real human stories and songs. I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah. Real
great
emotion.
songs, great songs come from this magical place, and so keep writing.
All right. Okay, so moving on, we have Hello Whiskey by Shane Lanford and Chris Sly.
Okay.
We love Chris.
Uh-oh.
Oh, this might be one of mine.
You're the reason my daddy's in prison. You're the reason mama's heart is still broke. You're the reason for half of the country songs any real cowboy ever wrote. Hello, whiskey, I love to hate you, but I've hated to love you for most of my life. Hello, whiskey, the reason I'm calling ain't to come crawling, I'm calling to tell you goodbye. Goodbye. Don't go flooding my mind with the good times.
All right. So being completely objective on this, because I do know and work with Chris, I don't. So let me start with saying there are a lot of whiskey songs in country music, a lot, and a lot that are behind the scenes, a lot that never see the light of day. So just that alone, I'm maybe a little bit harsher sometimes on songs that have whiskey in the title, because the bar sometimes can be really high and sometimes it isn't. So because of that, there's so many songs, like when I think like what comes to mind, okay, Whiskey Lullaby. I'm sure Morgan Wallen has got a million songs with whiskey in the title, Whiskey Glasses, for instance. So, there's all these songs sometimes that can personify whiskey. And I just don't know that I feel like this hook paid off as strong as it could have, because, I know it says Hello Whiskey, but it almost feels a little, I don't know if detached is the right word, but maybe disconnected from the theme. I'm calling to tell you goodbye. I just don't know that I'm feeling like that impact. Is an artist gonna hear that? Man, that is so out of the box. That's so different. And so when I'm listening, I'm thinking about like, what's gonna wow the other people that I need to wow to put this song on top of the stack. But I like the setup. The verse explains it well, and like it says, you're the reason for half the country song. So there's that. But overall, I just don't know that this really moved me a ton. But I did like the singing, obviously.
So this is a good way to educate all the people watching this right now, because they feel like, oh, all I need is an in with the publisher sometimes, and then life is great. But Chris actually writes for you, and you don't necessarily love everything he turns in. So
Absolutely.
he still, even though he has that connection to you, he still has to have a song that when it hits the end of the chorus, it pays off and makes you feel something.
Yep.
And so that, I think that's good for
Great.
you guys to know that it doesn't matter where you are, it all comes down to the song, you know.
It's true.
That's right.
And Shane also wanted to know, because he said he had a rough draft of this, and then Chris came in and helped with some melody stuff. He was wanting to know how to find more people in his circle to help make his rough drafts better, especially melody writers, rather than finding co-writers to start something from scratch. If you had any advice for him on that.
Well, yeah, I mean, as a longtime co-writer in Nashville, I can tell you, and other places as well, that bringing in a whole lyric and just expecting someone to come up with a melody, it happens, but oftentimes, Shane, people want to start building a song together from the ground up, where you bring in an idea and you all work on it together. To me, that is more of a co-write. And I mean, you're in Songtown, Shane, so you're a member. We have tons of great writers that you can co-write with that do great melody. So I would just start trying to find your favorite melody writers and work with them. I mean, I can think of a couple of instances where there have been hits where somebody brings a lyric and then a melody writer steps in, but it's just not done that way a lot. And I think people like to feel, I know as a writer, I like to feel a part of it from the ground up, like we're building something together, rather than somebody just handing me a song that's 60% finished and said, here, make it better.
Yeah. Yeah. I would add to that too. The only exception I can think of, and this is very like selective, is if writers pretty much have a complete song or even a verse and a chorus, and they will send it to an artist to see if there's interest, and then the artist gets to be the one to say, yeah, I'm interested, I want to put my say on this, and then be added as a writer. But that's not always the case. But like Eric Church has done to do that, or whoever.
Yeah, and in that case, you're sending them most likely a lyric and a melody. So yeah, but you're absolutely right. Song starts are great for getting artists with.
Awesome. All right. Next up, we have Ride Next to You by Elliot Garfias.
Riding hot nights in the middle of June, smiles in the moonlight, looking at you is a long way out, but I just want a little more time. You made us a bed in the back of your truck, looking for some shooting stars to give us some love, 'cause I don't need or wish to call you mine. Sometimes it's hard to believe it's true. I got your eyes locked on me. You know you're all that I need. You're something I can't lose. I wanna ride next to you wherever you put your foot down. No matter where you call your hometown, you're the one that I choose. I wanna ride next to you. Oh yeah, yeah. I wanna ride next to you.
Yeah, I think this is cool. It kind of has like a almost nostalgic, like there's like R&B influence and there's some pop influence. You know, I think this feels like a blend of genres at times. I would say I feel like I like the beat in the chorus. It kind of gives it a pep. You know, it just peps it up a little bit, and the hook I feel like is memorable because I don't always love repetition. Most of the time I actually don't like it, but having the hook repeated twice, I feel like helps ingrain that. So you walk away remembering that melody and just the hook of the song. Yeah, overall, I felt this was nice. I liked it. You know, I don't know that it's jumping out for anybody, one in particular, but I liked the vocal. It was unique. You know, there's some good imagery, like hot nights in the middle of June, which kind of reminds me of, I don't know why that one line reminded me of when I think about as you, late nights in the middle of June.
Yeah.
Very different song, but just the middle of June part. But yeah, so overall, I felt this was pretty cool.
What about you, Clay?
I like it. Yeah. I don't really have anything to add to that.
All right. Jenny said it all.
That's first.
Awesome. Okay, let's move on. We have Nothing Holding Me Back by Chris Crepeau, Aaron Rossing, and Carly Zimmerman. Whoops. All right.
Maybe it was the cover band or the happy hour tab that made me not think twice when I asked you to dance, took your hand and spun you around all night. How could I not with you looking like that? There was nothing holding me back. Went from first kiss sparks to a house with a yard, a dog and a front porch swing. As the days moved on, it didn't take long, we were talking about a ring. Didn't feel like we were moving too fast, there was nothing holding me back. But now I'm lying next to you, wondering where it all went wrong. Yeah, I know you're still here, but you're already too far gone. How'd it go from to have to hold to trying to hold it all together just like that? 'Cause now when I hold you, there's nothing holding me back.
Wow, lots to unpack here. I like this. I think it's cool. Like, saying combine, awesome flip of the hook. I love when the hook is like a double entendre almost, and it serves two purposes. So Really, really dig that. I think immediately the thing that drew me in was the imagery and the scenery. You know, I like being in and visualizing what's happening in a song. And so, you know, the cover band, the happy hour tab, when I asked you to dance and took your hand and spun you around all night long, you know, this feels very youthful. It feels very fresh, kind of in the Morgan Wallen or Tucker Wetmore vein. And then, you know, segues into kind of part two, you know, to a house with a yard, dog, front porch swing, kind of all the things, and talking about a ring. And then I think that was a little bit of an indicator. Didn't feel like we were moving too fast. There was nothing holding me back. I'm kind of at a impasse with if there needs to be a subtle transition line to kind of ease that into the chorus where things are starting to go south, or if it makes sense as is. Because I do like that the opening line in the chorus is "but," which means, okay, now we're different story. All the happy stuff is in the past. Now we're at a different stage. And so I think you kept the clarity really well and explained it all the way throughout. So it was never hard to follow. And so that's a big thing for me, is making sure you're not losing your listeners and trying to keep up with, because sometimes songs can sometimes have too much. Songs I hear too much words and too much jump back and go too fast that like you're like, whoa, wait, who's that? What happened? And by the time, you know, in real time, people don't have the option to go back and look at a lyric sheet like we're looking at now. So for it to be abundantly clear is important, and I felt like you did that well. And so yeah, I mean, this is one I think if I would like to maybe take a copy of and live with and listen to the whole thing, because I think this has a lot of potential. And I like the vocal. It's very soft, kind of breathy, not in a bad way, but just soft. And this might be one that you consider getting something with a little bit more power or a little bit more twang that would maybe cover like a Wallen or a Tucker Wetmore. But yeah, I thought this was really great.
Awesome. I can get you
Jeannie,
that.
Jeannie, do you try to keep songs under a certain time limit? Because this song does have 2 long verses before the chorus. And so I'm trying to imagine how long the entire thing with a bridge is going to be.
That's a great point. Yeah. And that's something that, like, if you know, when I listen to it and hear it play out, if it's pushing 4 minutes, 4.5, that's going to be, you know, that's going to hurt it, because I do like, you know, I don't have a time limit exactly, but probably by, I don't know, let's say most songs are 3 minutes, 3:30. So by 1.5 minutes, I'd really love to be at the end of the chorus. So that is a very good point that, you know, you don't want to have too much going on, and there might be some things that you can condense down. I'm always a fan of like condense and say less if you can get your point across with less. So you know, that might be this situation. I think I would have to hear the whole song, but yeah, typically, you know, we try to stay under that 3 minute or 3 minute and 30 at tops mark.
Yeah, it's definitely, this has a lot of potential, this one.
Mm-hmm.
Like it.
Yeah, that hook is so cool. Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Next up, we have Bourbon is Better by Alex Laws, Brian Grantham, and Josh Smith.
I told her more than time has passed between us. Love and laughter, tears and sadness. Looking back, we both been tested. We used to feel so invested. Do we still have that same spark? Sit with me. Let's have a heart-to-heart. I grabbed 2 glasses, said, what's your pleasure? She said, whiskey's good, but bourbon's better. And she said, whiskey's for regretting, drowning sorrows and forgetting. But bourbon's made for anticipating, slowing down and contemplating. If we're hoping this ain't over, if we wanna work this out together, whiskey's good, bourbon's better.
All right. So it's an interesting concept. Bourbon is better. I like that the rhymes are solid at the end, you know, together better. I do feel like some of the rhymes could be a little stronger or stretched and challenged, you know, regretting. It does start to feel a little bit predictable at times, you know, regretting, forgetting, anticipating, contemplating, together better, you know, it just starts to feel a little too structured almost. And some of the phrasing, I have to think of it as, you know, our audiences are ages all over, but there are a lot of young listeners. And because of that, I always try to make sure the lines feel fresh and conversational and something that, you know, I mean, I'm going to go back to Morgan because he's the hottest artist in country music right now, but, you know, like Morgan or Jordan Davis are going to say, and, you know, lines like, what's your pleasure might not be as current as something that you would hear today in a bar. You know, I know girl, what you drinking isn't the most clever thing too, but something that might translate. It's not going to get lost in translation for the younger audiences. So it's maybe important to keep that in mind too. But yeah, you know, it was cool. I just don't know that this would stand above a crowd when listening, when pitching for artists and all the gatekeepers. Clay, add to that if I miss anything.
No, it's good stuff. I just always want to feel like you're pulling me into a conversation in that first verse. And when I hear the language, I told her love and laughter, tears and sadness, like it starts feeling like this grandiose commercial rather than actually talking to someone and having a real conversation.
Yep.
And I think that's with the laughter and sadness and all the rhyming, I think it just doesn't feel real, like you're talking to someone yet. I think that's the missing piece for me, is why I'm not connecting to it.
All right.
I mean, technically, it's got a lot of correct stuff in it. It's just making that connection with the listener.
Totally. All right. Next, we have Up by J.C. McCord.
Quitting that half a can a day habit wasn't all that hard. Cutting back on the whiskey was easy, 'cause I wouldn't let it go that far. I know I'm far from perfect, you told me more times than I can recall. Found out you're the kind of person who ain't very kind at all. I gave you getaway weekends when I could have been fishing with my friends. I gave you five-star restaurants, breaking my mama's heart, missing Sunday dinner again. I sacrificed my whole life to give you everything you want. Girl, you got my best, all I got left to give you now is up. I'm giving you up. I'm giving you up.
Yeah, so I was shocked that the hook or the title wasn't giving you up, since that to me feels more like the theme versus up. You know, if it was just if the hook had ended on, I don't know that there is a way to, I mean, there probably is, just use the word up as the theme, but you know, which reminds me of, I think, Cameron Marlowe's breakout single is a song called Giving You Up. But I think with this, that, it starts with this, a lot of contrasts. Quitting the half a can and cutting back on whiskey was easy because I wouldn't let it get that far. I think the direction I was hoping that this was going to go was like almost the opposite. Like cutting back on whiskey was hard, or quitting that, half a can a day habit was difficult. But like the most difficult thing I had to do was give up, like by far. Like I think that kind of would have been a more neat approach of being like, yeah, this was hard, but man, nothing was as hard as giving you up. And so, from a female's perspective, I just don't know that this is one that's going to really resonate as like, okay, well, wow, he gave up fishing and, dinner with his mama and this, but it's like, it's just not enticing and really pulling me into this, like, it doesn't give any backstory as to what happened. It's kind of more just very one-sided. Like, I'm far from perfect and found out that, she's not very nice, but there's really no description that's elaborating to what happened, or, there's no emotion, I guess. So if you're going to have a song that's like, I'm giving you up now because she's a meanie, it needs to give the listener a little bit more than just kind of this man's side. And I know that's not always easy to do, but yeah, I hope that makes sense.
Yeah, it's totally. The thing that I kind of lost me was the setup line, "You got my best." And it was like, but what, he wasn't living his best life. He didn't go to dinner at his mom's, and I was like, he wasn't doing what he loved. Like, so
Yeah.
it just didn't ring true to me. Like, it just,
Good point.
yeah, I didn't find myself liking the guy or the girl in this one.
Yeah, I agree. You want to like the characters usually. Or at least
All
have a
right.
good hateable villain.
Someone to root for.
Yeah.
All right. Next up, we have When the Cowboy's Down by Christine Beam.
Grandpa had to lay down his cowboy hat, so the ranch is a mess and the crops are all flat. It's been a few years since I worked this farm, and the smell of manure hasn't lost its charm. The nights are as short as the days are long. I've gotta find my boots and get my cowgirl on. Yeah, no more JetBlue Island getaway. I need a John Deere to bale up this hay. Yeah, no more Chardonnay to relax me today. Hand me a cattle prod, they're all getting away. I won't cuss, I won't fuss, no more messing around. I'm gonna cowgirl up when the cowboy's down.
All right. So I don't know that I totally understand I'm gonna cover up in the Cowboys. Okay, when the Cowboy's down, I guess when like when he's down for the count, like, I think that kind of lost me at the end there. I think the idea is there. There's a very big movement of this like cowgirl country theme right now. Lainey Wilson and just this whole pick yourself up by your bootstraps and add a girl and all and everything she embodies. But with that, the production was a little funky, kind of had like a little retro sounding. And I think if you're going to have a song that's kind of in the theme of, cowgirl, cowboy, I think it should be a little bit more, Western and acoustic, or something that just feels a little bit truer than this kind of boppy, funky production and melody. It just felt like it was a little too contrasted from, it didn't seem like this lyric would match that, at all. But yeah, so I think because of that, you want it to feel fresh, and you want it to feel up to date and competitive with what's currently out there and what's currently happening with, female country at this moment in time. I think the idea was there. I don't know that it totally made sense at the very end, and that might just be for me. Maybe it did to Dana and Clay, but yeah. So I think there's some good imagery, and there's some cool things here, but overall it wasn't all piecing together in a way that felt like it was complete.
Yeah, I couldn't understand the payoff at the end of the chorus. That I was waiting for the payoff, kind of cowgirl up when the cowboy's down. I just wish, Christine, that was you pointed to it a little better, so I really felt I knew what you were talking about when it hit that. But lots of good imagery in there. Nothing else to really add. Jenny nailed it.
Totally. All right. We have Just You by Peter Boynton up next.
I did think of something, Dana. Christine, I think you have to be careful when, in these kind of songs, there's a tendency, okay, I'm going to write a song about country life, where you throw in all this imagery, and it's like so much. I call them kind of like a list song. It's like you're just listing
the country
images and
checklist.
images.
Yeah.
It's a checklist, and so I think you have to always go back to your story is more important than your images.
Yeah.
And so I wasn't quite connecting with the story of this and the characters, but you've got the image part down. I think you just need to dial that back a little bit and focus more on what the story is.
Totally agree.
All right. So here is Just You by Peter Boynton.
A friend you can count on is money in the bank, and through the years your wealth will grow. And giving yourself and receiving their things, the currency of love ebbs and flows. I don't need luxuries money can buy. I don't need shiny new things. Just gaze with me now at this red evening sky, and we'll talk over what tomorrow might bring. Just you, my friend, all I need is you. Just you. Steady, familiar.
Peter, I'm guessing this is more of a sync pitch. I mean, it's beautiful chorus melody.
I got the same vibe.
Yeah, it's hard. Yeah, I think, and I always mix up my first and second. I don't know who the audience is supposed to be. Because it starts with a vague, like a friend you can count on, which maybe is third person, second, and then it switches to my, which is first, I believe. So it's like it kind of it's hard to pin down, who this would be for, because it's so personal that I wouldn't hear this as like a cast, an outside pitch kind of thing, because it's all I need is you, my friend. All I need is you. Yeah. But it's a little vague as to who you is. It's a great message. These are all very true things. The friend you can count on. And
I definitely think it's a sync pitch, and the vagueness is more than likely, knowing Peter, it's on purpose, because you're trying to fit into a scene, a visual scene. But yeah, I'm almost 100% sure this is a sync pitch. But yeah, it's very well done, Peter. Just beautiful melody, and
Yeah.
great uplifting message. So I definitely think you would have pitches for that.
Awesome. All right. Let me switch to this next one. We have Mr. Daniels by Garrett Dowdy.
I remember meeting you on a Tuesday night, about a week after breaking up with him. We shared a Coke, and you got me to talk. Then the pain rolled out with the words, and I felt alive again. But now it's got so good that I gotta go, 'cause I just know I can't call you by your first name anymore. This can't be a thing that you got me longing for. That feeling I get when I drink your drink, I gotta get a handle. That means so long, Mr. Daniels.
Okay, so I was very, very confused until I like went back. Okay, my mind was going to something way worse. I don't know why. I felt like this was like, I don't know, a teacher or something. And I was like, wait a minute. What's that? Okay, Daniels. Okay, Jack Daniels. I get it now. But because of that, and I'm not assuming everybody would be this slow to pick this up, but not everybody's going to have a lyric sheet in real time. You know, someone's hearing it and it's gotta click, and it just wasn't clicking for me. Because I was about to say, like, we shared a Coke, like, felt so random given the context. I remember meeting you on a Tuesday night, and then blah, 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 we broke up. You know, there's nothing in that first verse to indicate whatsoever that she's referring to, you know, whiskey. And then it's, you know, I can't call you by your first name anymore. You know, I'm still just totally lost, like, this entire way through. And so, yeah, I think it's clever what the intention was, but it just didn't, the execution wasn't quite there.
Yeah. I think it was a killer melody for a lot of it. Like, but that first line of the chorus lost me. I can't call you by your first name anymore. I'm going, why? Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I could see most of the verse. I just felt like, I know why you did it. I know why you said because you're calling him Mr. Daniels. That's the whole premise. But why couldn't you call him? I think it has to work on some other level to make that pay off.
I think that's why I thought it was about a teacher, because like you can't call teachers their first name. And I don't know. Yeah, there's math.
This is so close, Garrett. I would continue to work on that chorus some more.
Yeah.
Because your verse had me going, and I was thinking, oh, she's about to split because it's getting serious. But which is kind of, but I don't know. It just lost me in the beginning of the chorus. I could not figure out what was going on. And Rob says, I think she's saying they're no longer on a first. Yeah.
That's kind of what I got too, but I do see what you guys are saying.
Yeah, I just think that chorus could be a little tighter to make it, because there's something there. It's just, I don't think it's realized completely yet.
For sure.
All right. Great job though, Garrett.
Tony Harrell told me one time, he's a great keyboard player, played on a ton of hit records, and he was saying that Nashville is cluttered with musicians that can get 95% of the way there. It's that last 5% that only very few can get there. And that's the way I've always looked at songs, is you can get a song 95% of the way there, and everybody goes, wow, that's great. But it's that little extra bit that's going to take it over the top that makes Jeannie want to call up an artist and say, I've got this incredible song for you and you've got to hear it. And that's that little extra bit that you're trying to get to.
Yeah. Well
That's
said.
the hard part.
Yes.
Awesome. All right,
It's
next
close.
up next we have Baby Please by AJ Claus and TJ Higley.
All those things that you said, echoing in my head, telling me your bags are packed, saying you ain't coming back. We both made our mistakes, we both played selfish games. And if the love is gone, it's foolish hanging on. But at the thought my heart breaks. Baby, please, another night of walking the floor. Baby, please, I don't want to cry anymore. I'm here all alone. Baby, please come home.
Right. Yeah. So I feel like going back to what I said earlier with this wave of females in country right now. I go back to Lainey, Jenna Paulette or Meg Maroney. There's this almost like female empowerment that's. I think it's going to be very, very difficult to find an artist that's going to be begging for a guy to come back right now. It's just not in, and it's not, something that a lot of female artists are going to put themselves in that light as if, they need him. Please come back. I'm here all alone. Like, Lainey's doing the opposite right now. She's singing songs like "Atta Girl," "Pick Yourself Up." You can be whoever you want to be. Like, just very empowering. And so, I think this would be a really tough topic to cover right now. I thought it sounded good. The production, the guitars, sometimes electric guitars can date songs a little bit. So I felt like it didn't have that super commercially fresh component that is also necessary, especially for pitching today. But it felt good. It just didn't feel competitive enough for where Outside Songs are right now, ideal wise.
Yeah. I always tell people that write the song if you have to write it, but just know that a female begging somebody please is there's not any artist that I can think of that would want to put that out as their image. So, and so that's what you have to think about. Go ahead and write it, but just know that it might be a long shot to get that song cut. And who knows? I mean, stranger things have happened, but it's like playing the lottery at that point when if you write a song for a female that's more empowering, like Jeannie says, your odds go way up for getting an artist to cut it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think too, that's a good point. Like, ballads are always really tough. Let's be honest. Females are tough, ballads are tough, and when you combine the two, it's gotta knock our socks off. It's gotta be like, whoa, that is so different. I think I'm pretty sure Carly Pierce put out with her ballad "Every Little Thing," but as simple as that was, it was still very raw and honest and emotional. I remember every little thing, but it's like I would almost err on the side of like, sassy, like, Miranda. That's like, I'm gonna burn it down in kerosene and teach him what he needs to learn, and gunpowder and lead and all the things. It's like, it's almost a safer bet to not copy that exactly, but have that tone versus, you know, more of the beggar, like I'm crying, don't leave me, because that's just going to be a tough sell, like we said. But yeah.
Yeah, it's like up tempos are easy to get cut. Write a ballad, but if you write a ballad, it better be song of the year if you want it to get cut. It has to be that. And because artists typically will write ballads all day long, so they're looking for songwriters to bring in great up tempo songs.
Yeah. Write a oh my gosh, what's her song? Oh my gosh, Miranda Lambert's Alan Chamberlain. He did this one.
The House That Built Me.
Yes, thank you. God, cat got my tongue. Yeah, lifestyle, something like that. Lifestyle songs are always great. Okay, how to say that.
All right. Moving on, we have Tap Out or Pass Out by Mike Dwyer.
I've been there, I feel like.
Already relatable, look.
We pulled in, hollering, pumped up for a vacay at the beach. The guy next door tore off his porch, said, "Not you again, God help me. Last time y'all were buck wild, I didn't sleep for days." As we cracked our beers, I said, "Look here, man, you got a choice to make. Either join in or move it on out. 'Cause right now you're bringing us down. Either join in or back it on out. 'Cause we are going to blow it out till we tap out, or we pass out, or we pass out." Next day he's
All right. Well, I don't envy this. Tapping out or passing out. Neither of those sound fun.
It's rough.
Anyways, but yeah, this feels very like almost like spring break, like frat boy anthem, you know, except with a rougher, rowdier, like rock and roll kind of Brantley feel. You know, we're pumped up for a vacay at the beach, and God help the guy whose Airbnb they're renting. But you know, it just the guy next door tore off his porch and said, "Not you again." And you know, I think I don't know. It's hard to get behind these kind of ones. I think they're fun, and you know, that there'd probably be a fun bar closer. Definitely keeping people awake and energized. I love the energy. Just the idea. I think that might be a tough one. I think every now and then you can kind of get some quirky or silly songs like, you know, Red Solo Cup or something that's like, oh, that's not gonna work. And sometimes it does. But generally speaking, I think this would probably be a little bit more difficult of a pitch just for how blunt it is. You know, it feels almost like hazing, like a little bit. It feels a little like aggressive, just like you better like not back down, you know, better not back out, bring us down, like, you know, we're gonna go until we hit the ground. It just is like, whoa. But yeah, it's definitely different. Yeah, very good comedy. Yeah, there you go. A hangover movie. Perfect. Yeah. Great idea.
Okay, let's move on.
All right. Next up, we have drunk. It seems to be a common theme right now.
Whiskey, passing out, drunk.
Passing out.
Yeah.
This is by Rob Alley, Kyle Harvey, and Adam Howard Schneider.
I've been all kinds of drunk on all kinds of stuff, from absinthe to Zinfandel. I've jammed air guitar, been the life of the bar, till they rang out that last call bell. I've had enough sauce to call up my boss, give him a piece of my mind. 3 sheets to the wind has been my best friend. Ever since you said goodbye, I've drunk to my health, drunk by myself. Lord, I've been drunk in a jail cell or two. Been drunk as a skunk, but not drunk enough to make me forget about you.
It's kind of like a funny, sad little ditty. It's like, yeah, it's kind of got like an element of humor to it, just because he's been drunk here, drunk there, everywhere, you know, but not drunk enough to forget about her, which is like, I think that is kind of a clever but soft hook, and I like the way that landed, because up until it's like, I've done this, I've done that, I've drank all of these things and done this. You know, you feel bad for the guy, I think. And then, you know, just peeking into the second verse, you know, being punch drunk on love, but, you know, the best kind of blitz. It's very heavy on the drunk theme, which, you know, does not disappoint, because that's the theme and the title and hook. But I just don't know that lyrically this is gonna quite reach that goal of outside pitching, or where the bar is, I should say.
Yeah, it's definitely a funny drinking song, so you never know.
Mm-hmm. I feel like it's a good poem, almost. Like
it's been, yeah. I mean, it's well written, guys. It's
mm-hmm.
definitely there. It's just, so what you're saying, Jenny, is it's hard to imagine like a major artist singing it.
Yeah, like even like Hardy, who, let's say, like he's a little rock, he's a little outside the typical like border of country, you know. It's like, I woke up on the wrong side of the truck this morning. I mean, I can't hear him being like drunk on absinthe or Zinfandel, joined to their car. You know, I'm trying to picture even the most out there artists that are current right now doing this, and it's I know where their bar is lyrically too, and a lot of these guys write their own songs too. So if we're going to take something to them again, it's got to be something that they haven't already thought of, because these guys are, you know, the party boys are drinking and they are smoking and they are writing songs with each other around the clock. And if you know, they've thought it, they've written it, and so it's gotta beat what they can say.
Tony said it. Good writer around.
Mm-hmm.
When we would write these songs for years, Tony, we would call these bluebird songs. It's the kind of song that would go over great at the Bluebird.
Yeah, exactly.
Adam, I think part of it, the absinthe and the Zinfandel, it's just hard to imagine a hardcore country artist singing those words to me. Like, I think some of the language could be cleaned up a little bit, and then it's a matter of, do they just want to sing a song that's about being drunk in every line, you know what I mean? Like, the whole theme of the song is drunk. So it's possible, but it would just be a harder sell.
Yeah, even like from Top Shelf to the Rock Bottom, something that just not saying that's the line, but just gives it a little spice that's fresh, and that you'd hear some of these guys saying.
Yeah,
for sure.
Cool.
All right, moving on, we have "Stayed Downtown" by Jeff Power and Stefan Zaidas.
I don't usually go into the city, but it was feeling like a party night. So I jumped in with the boys and we headed for a cover band and the neon lights. I didn't know it when they played true. I'd meet an angel in white boots. I saw her looking like
seat back there when our next day shift let out. Never saw that girl again. Should've stayed downtown. I should've stayed downtown. I came back the next night.
Sorry, I'm still stewing. I just don't feel the punch, if that makes sense. I feel like, there's songs about Broadway girls and downtown. I saw her looking lonely and looked like someone spun her around and burned up the floor. There's already some kind of, Morgan has a song called Spin You Around. Party has a song that's like heartache on the dance floor and burning it up. There's some references that feel close, but I just don't feel like I never saw that girl again. I should have stayed downtown is the one that's like knocking me out because, well, I don't really know why. It just isn't. What was I going to say about two? I like the simplicity of this. But yeah, I think it just needs to be a little bit more outside the norm and outside the box and a little more compelling and more unique. That's gonna really, really grab and pull. And like as a girl, there's not really enough about this, and not just a girl, but there's not enough really about her or their interaction. It was more just like, I don't really do this, kind of the typical boys' night where he gets in the car and they go downtown, but there wasn't enough interaction. It's like Lee Bryce's song. I've referenced this before. Maybe it's like, are you one of them girls that peels off the Bud Light label, just might run a pool table, roll your eyes if I call you an angel? Are you one of them girls that blah, 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 blah? He paints this girl as like, wow, like every girl's like, oh, I want to be that girl. Like, it really spices it up, makes it come to life. It makes it come alive. And so I think it just needs more of that. And the melody felt almost like 2 different songs from the verse to the chorus. But yeah, so that's kind of my thoughts in a nutshell on that one.
Yeah, I thought the melody in the chorus was interesting. It was retro, but it also felt cool. But the lyrically was where it kind of fell flat for me a little bit, guys. Just didn't, it's exactly what Jenny said. I didn't feel like there was anything just different enough to make it stand out to me yet. And it's almost like, I think if you were saw her lonely, I think that telling the story of I saw her lonely at the bar and then you looked like this, that seems like it would be more of a verse kind of story. And then the chorus would hit and we danced the whole night away. More of like Jeannie was saying, more great stuff that happened, but then you were gone. I should have stayed downtown. Then it would have hit me harder. But I think you're still trying to tell the story in the chorus instead of getting to the point in the chorus. And I think that just lessened the effectiveness of it. But it's got potential. I just think lyrically it just needs to get away from some of the tried and true stuff and try to be a little bit more edgier with it.
Mm-hmm.
Totally. All right. We got about 15 minutes left. I don't know if you guys want to do a Q&A at the end, but I'll go ahead and play this next song. Okay. This is Just Like a Dam by Izzy Malik.
Izzy.
I would give up anything to be 21 with you again and see you dancing drunk to a cover band with your beer up high. Sometimes I'm good for days and other times it comes in waves. It's like a flood I can't escape no matter how I try. And I still try. But damn, I miss you bad today. If you were here, you'd probably you say. Just trust that God has got a bigger plan. And I didn't know how hard it'd be, and damn, you'd probably laugh at me, but I'm holding back these tears the best I can, just like a dam.
Yeah, so I like the message of this, and these are always, tough songs to probably write and sing because almost everybody can sometimes relate to losing somebody, and there's a lot of songs like this in country music, believe it or not, a lot of songs written like this, and sadly a lot of people can relate, so I feel like you were able to convey your message well, and so the only thing I would say is like trying to think of who was it, Hardy, that's like give heaven some hell comes to mind a little bit. It's kind of got that rough and raw rock and honesty to it, but still with a really, really sentimental, sentimental feel and message. But because he has, Hardy does have a song called Give Heaven Some Hell, which is about losing someone young. And, but I think these are always great songs, and I love hearing them. And I don't know that because it is so personal sometimes it can be a tough pitch for an artist. It's like if they're going to sing oftentimes about missing somebody or losing somebody, generally they want to be a part of that, right? More times than not, and because they're not really they're not really popular songs too. It's like I think Cole Swindell, Wish You Were Here, or Luke Bryan, maybe Drink a Beer. It's like a lot of these times they do want to write these songs, but I like the hook. I like the I'm holding back these tears the best I can, just like a dam. So I think that was a really good analogy.
Yeah, I liked it, Izzy. I thought it was really. I love the chorus a lot. Like I really felt that chorus. In your second verse, I wish you could have met my kids. That starts out. It's got great stuff. I like it.
Yep.
Yeah, it's hard. I mean, the Drink a Beer song, Stapleton wrote that song. I don't think Luke was on that song, but
Yeah, you're right.
Stapleton was so hot at that time that it's like, okay, well, they took a chance with that. But yeah, these songs always seem like they're around, Izzy. I think you got a potential good one here.
It also kind of reminds me, like, especially in that chorus, like, I drive your truck. I don't know if that was the artist wrote that one, but
that was Jesse Alexander, Connie Harrington, and I'm missing the third. But that
not
was
the artist.
Yeah, he just had you're making me space out because he just had a song. He just had another number one. Jimmy Yeary. Was that a Jimmy Yeary song?
Maybe.
I can't remember.
I thought it was.
Anyway.
I don't
remember.
look now I'm gonna have to go look it up later.
Yes.
Don't bother me.
Yeah, but that was a great job, Izzy. Do you want to do one more and do a couple of questions, or okay?
I was right.
It's up to you guys. Whatever y'all want to do.
Yeah, let's hit some questions. See what.
Yeah. So in the chat, if you guys have questions for Jenny, general questions, or for Clay, drop them in that chat.
Dana, you took a note of the song that Jenny requested.
I did.
Great.
Awesome. So good. I'm glad you liked that one because I was like, oh my God.
Jim says, is it confusing to have both damn and damn in the chorus? No, I didn't think so.
No.
Because they mean different things.
In the context.
And they're book endings, and it felt like it supported the title. So I think without those, when you hit that damn at the end of the chorus, it wouldn't pay off as nice if you didn't have the other ones.
Yeah, I agree. Not much to add to that. I think the context is everything. So if if it makes sense in the context, it's, it works. And maybe because it's at the top of the chorus. Well, I guess it's in the middle too.
Yeah, it is. It's more
Sam,
of
you
just
probably
a gut thing. Like, does it feel
Mhm.
right or does it feel wrong? And there's not really any rules about that, Jim. But his chorus felt so real that I think it helped him get away with that. And I don't know,
Mhm.
it all felt right to me. If
Mhm.
my gut tells me it's wrong, then I would go in and try it and experiment and
Mhm.
take it out. Is it better? Is it better?
Mhm. Oh,
We
did we
lost
just lose
Clay.
somebody?
Yeah. I don't know. He's
Uh-oh.
gone.
Well, we
Um,
just did that.
well, I do see some questions in the chat. I'm just gonna take over here.
Yeah, I can answer some.
Julian, I think, is asking, like, what's something on the radio right now that you want people not to steal, but to take notes on? What's happening right now that you're loving with
Hmm.
trends?
That's a great question. Thank you. So, I'm not really ever one to be like, oh, that's such a cool trend. I love that. Like, I always just love, like, if it resonates with me, then it resonates. There he is.
Back.
Yeah, if it resonates with me, then it just resonates. But if there's a song in particular that comes to mind, and maybe it's Dirt Cheap, again, I know that it's a ballad, but it's a hell of a ballad. It's probably gonna be song of the year. It's just it's something that just I think storytelling is kind of making a comeback, and I love that. So we'll see. I guess time will tell, but I think it does feel encouraging to know that some of the songs like that with the true country songs and what was always embodied country music, which is the storytelling, songs like that are winning a lot, and that can go for male or female. I think I've mentioned multiple times tonight, just like the female empowerment. I love what Lainey's doing. I love her messages, and the encouraging to where our shows, there's young little cowgirls, and they can hear a song and a story that's gonna move them in a positive way. But yeah, I think if I had to just say, like, this song, not to copy it, but just be inspired by, probably something along the lines of Dirt Cheap, or and it doesn't have to just be that. If you like Shabuzi's Tipsy, I think that's super fun too. I listen to that every time it comes on. So yeah, just whatever resonates.
Awesome. All right, I think we put another one up here from Rob, and
Okay.
other people are curious too about what percentage of songs that you hear or keep or pass on that are full demos versus guitar vocal, and how does that weigh in, I guess?
Yeah. So I think it just depends. Like, if it's just a guitar, I mean, there's a lot of times that artists, and it just depends on the artist too, that they like just a guitar vocal. I sent a song to a producer the other day that's very popular and has done lots of records, and he wanted a guitar vocal. And other times, if you're pitching to maybe A&R or produce, or I think it just depends. So I don't know that there's an exact percentage in mind. However, I will say that sometimes simplicity is best, and I think it's not a bad idea to have a guitar vocal as a backup. If you're pitching a song that's got all the bells and whistles and the full-blown production already done, have a guitar vocal ready sometimes, because I think maybe it was Keith Urban that, I'm pretty sure he was the one that was, he likes to hear it. I'm pretty sure that's Keith, stripped down, because some artists are such masters at hearing how they want it to sound that if it already sounds too complete, it can deter the song. Same with, like, I want to say Kenny Chesney. Some cuts that we had on him in the past year or two, one was a guitar vocal, and it was just a very pretty acoustic, literally guitar and a vocal, and that was it. So there isn't like it has to be a fully produced out demo every time. I think as long as it's clean and you can hear it and the song gets across, then a great song will stand out regardless.
This always interests me because we will always get more questions about demo production, but I think you would agree with me. The hardest part and the thing that people need to strive most for is learning to write an amazing song, because
Absolutely.
then you can get away with a guitar vocal and the song shines through.
Yeah,
Very
that's true.
seldom is the demo the problem. But I love your idea of, if you've got a demo, why not just ask the engineer to strip it down to a guitar vocal,
Yeah,
maybe a
yeah.
little percussion, and just have a simple version, because you've already got the tracks there.
Totally,
So
totally.
why not just have a second version that's stripped down, so you can pitch it to Keith Urban, or a
Yeah.
producer. I know that I got cuts on Frank Rogers stuff because
Yeah.
he liked the guitar vocals and he could hear the production in his head. So
Yeah, and that's Frank Liddell was who I was referring to, who's he heard a
yeah,
song of my writer live and wanted a guitar vocal, and then and it sometimes time isn't on your side. Like we sent a song, me and this other publisher, to Hendrix for Blake Shelton the other day, his producer, and it's a rough work tape. I mean, you can hear it, but I would have much rather had a clean version, but we had to get something out quick, and fingers crossed that Blake loves it. It's in the pile. So all that to be said is there isn't a one size fits all situation. So if the song is there, that will shine through.
And I think the one song that you did ask for a copy for today, that was a guitar vocal. I don't think there was full production on that
Probably,
one.
yeah. Yeah, there you go.
Awesome.
one more.
All right. One more. I like this question. Basically saying, Jenny, thank you for your time here. What motivates you to do stuff like this and give encouragement and advice and feedback to aspiring writers?
Yeah. Well, we all start somewhere, right? It wasn't long ago when I was just a green publisher, as Clay knows, that you all need people to I think pull us up and give us advice, and I think it's important to just talk to people at different stages, whether that's a seasoned or a veteran writer, or I have coffee meetings all the time with brand new writers, and it's no different than this, really. I mean, if it's it's word of mouth, so if I'm meeting with somebody, it happens almost every week. Hey, will you with my other co-writer? I think that you guys would really hit it off, and then it's like, oh my goodness, then it kind of is like the ripple effect, which I love. So it's really just the same thing. Essentially, it's just getting to know and also getting to hear what's out there. It's technically, I mean, it's scouting for talent. Essentially, I mean, my job is to find great songs, great homes, and so I consider doing that as well. If something catches my ear, or I hear something that I feel like could work for somebody, it's fully helping you guys with feedback, because I want everyone to pursue what they love and their passion, and whether it's constructive criticism or a great feedback, or something that kind of stings in the moment, but you can use as a tool to get better. I think that's all part of the equation. So in a long-winded answer, it helps you and it helps me.
Awesome.
Well, we appreciate you being here, and I know that
Thanks.
everyone in Songtown appreciates it. If you're watching and you're not a member of Songtown, check it out, songtown.com. We help writers level up. We do things like this all the time for our members inside the membership area, and we would love to have you there and help you get better.
Awesome.
We'll see
Thanks for
y'all
having me,
later.
guys.
Thanks
All
for
right.
being here, Jenny.
Absolutely.
Thanks everyone for watching.
See y'all later.
All right. Bye.